Yes, hello, and yeah, we're here. Coming through the wormhole. Hello and good evening for this Wednesday, September 6th, 2023. We just finished watching the 15th episode of Big Brother 25, the Week 5 Power of Veto episode, as the reign of Jared Fields continues here as head of household. As we see Cameron take himself off the block in this episode. There's a lot to unpack here, and Jared and Jag ends up as the replacement nominee. I'm Dave Mader, joined with my brother Jeff Mader, and co-host Jaemeel Robinson, and of course Wednesday competition correspondent Josh Foster coming to here. A full panel, guys. How are you guys doing tonight? Jeff,
doing good. It was a much better episode tonight. It was they didn't show an hour-long competition, so that was nice.
It was only a few minutes. Jaemeel, how are you? I know that there's some power outages in the greater Brampton area. How are you? But otherwise, you seem to have power at the moment.
Rogers sucks, and that is my primary barrier.
Okay. Well, I can't disagree. And we also have Josh Foster coming, not with us for the last couple of episodes, as he's been busy tending to his football dynasties in his fantasy leagues, crushing it, as he was telling us in the warm up. Josh,
yeah, I've been I'm multitasking, Dave. I've got family obligations over the weekends. Back-to-back weekends. Just had a wedding. Now I got a trip this weekend coming up, and football, balancing that, and NFL coming back tomorrow night, and but that's just me, but then also I'm trying my best to make it when I can. So thank you for having me, as always, boys.
Well, glad to have you back, Foster. Okay, so guys, I couldn't help but feel a little bit disappointed with just sort of where we end up here by the end of this episode. I thought it was pretty interesting, and I agree, kind of, mostly good. But by the end here, we end up with Jag on the block as the target. Sari having decided that getting Matt to use his power is really not good for her, and now she wants him out. So the whole week was canceled last week just for him potentially to be voted out tomorrow. So I can't quite shake that feeling after this episode has finished. Jaemeel, can you console me in any way here?
We all know that everyone playing in this in this game is top tier, top shelf gameplay. So everyone wants to make sure that we have a quality season, which is why. Remember what we did last week? Why don't we do it again, but this time with feeling?
Yeah, I guess so. Ultimately, I think they wanted to get Cameron out this week. Cameron ends up winning this veto. Jeff pulls himself down, and now they're left with Red and okay, well, we have Red as still a target, but Jared as well. We find out in this episode has this alliance with Corey. That they're ride or dies all of a sudden, Jared and Corey, but America is a threat to this, and so Jared has an irrational hate on for America that was big part of this episode.
Corey is definitely Jared's number 4.
Corey is Jared's number 4.
Definitely number 4.
Yeah, but for Jared, for Corey is what, number 2?
It seems like number 1, but I don't know.
No, Corey likes America. He wants to work with America more.
Does he?
I don't know.
I'm confused. I'm confused by this Corey. I'm not very impressed. Let's put it that way.
How can you be? Foster, your draft pick. Okay, you already have Red as one of your draft picks. He ends up staying on the block in this episode as well. You drafted America, who is also a big target of this episode. As we mentioned, Jared was very jealous. How are you? Were you feeling nervous? Were you like, no, I can't lose definitely somebody this week? That would be the worst.
I was definitely feeling the pressure, Dave. I was feeling, I was on the hot seat. I was like, oh damn, like my picks are getting talked a lot. They're on the outs, if you will, right? They're not a part of the decision-making conversations, right? They're a part of kind of like the what are we going to do with you kind of conversations.
Right. But that didn't happen here. Okay. Jaemeel, can you give us any more insight here into Jared and his HOH and sort of the like what we saw on the show tonight was pretty damning for him, and he was already not having a great season.
Everything is true.
Everything
Everything is true. He's terrible. He's straight terrible. And
Actually,
like,
yeah, okay.
even like, look, we're seeing a pattern, and they're doing a good job of showcasing it. This dude cannot help himself. He's already challenging his allies. He's already rubbed Izzy the wrong way. He's talking to Corey and having fights with him. He's having fights with his own mom, and his mom's like, don't be stupid. Listen to what I'm saying. Like, I just expect one of these days for him to just grab him and shake him. Just shake him hard on screen. Like, what's wrong with you? Right? It's just like America would have been up if not for Saray.
Right, but that's what also makes Jared even more pathetic by the end of this episode. Is that Sri comes in, it's like we have to put Jag up because da da da, and he's like, okay, ma, But if Sri's not there, Jared is definitely putting up with America every single time. That's 100% happening.
Jared feels Corey is dumb for telling America his secret about his brother because Jared knows. Right, and Jared knows about his brother because Izzy told Jared
that Jared. Sorry, Corey's
how
brother.
Does Izzy know who everyone's sibling is that played on these shows?
If she's a super fan, she's a super fan that she claims to be. So,
Question here from the of course we're here, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch on the Super Mater Brothers podcast. How did you get that key? Actually, I have one over here that you gave to me, Jaemeel, on my backdrop. Yes. But neither of us are set for Big Brother 26, BB. Sorry.
So, BB, a little inside baseball. It's a fake.
It's a fake. Oh, I definitely should pull that up. Yeah, like Jared, what we see is what we get here. Yeah, it's not great.
Look, folks, for whatever reason, some people think that, this person is related to this player who's pretty good or is really good. And, there's some trickle down genetics and skill. Look, we've seen it before. Russell Hands is Russell Hands. Okay. We have not seen it show up in other of his family members. We see it here with Suri, right? Jared is not Suri, clearly, right?
I have a question because Jared's last name is Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Suri's, of course, is also Fields. And so, what do they think? Do they not think that they think they have the same last name, or did they make up a fake last name for one of them? For I guess it would have to be for Jared because
I think Jared has a fake last name.
Yeah. He's going by a fake last name.
I think he's using probably his mom's maiden name, or I don't know.
Well, that seems like that would be the first piece of evidence, but I keep wondering about that.
They look so similar.
They look similar. They have the same last name, but okay, he has to have made up a fake one. We're saying so. Yeah, I would love to know.
But Blue knows.
But Blue knows because she knows. She knows it's Felicia or Suri, but she's leaning.
No, she knows it's like it's.
I don't know. Like they don't look like Jared does not look like he came from Felicia at all.
But you should also think about the fact that they're alone in the HOH room quite a bit together, or they're you should be able to tell by the way they interact with each other and stuff. That stuff should be even more noticeable. Because Serene's got this whole house pretty much under her thumb. Right. And the only couple players I feel like that are any threat to her are Jag and America. And so it did make sense that
Corey
and maybe Corey if he ever wins something, America has become the closest to winning something quite a few times. And I just feel like she has the best chance to actually do any amount of damage to anybody. And if she can team up with Cameron, and I have some thoughts on Cameron, because I can't really stand Cameron as a person on the show, but as a character on the show, I actually think he's amazing. I mean, as a villain, as a player everyone hates, I'm kind of rooting for just so everyone else is miserable.
He's kind of oblivious, though. He has no idea that he's the target. He has no idea that Red's not happy with him until pretty late in the game, until basically.
Did you notice, when he was talking to Red in the hot tub, that like his accent was like super country southern, and then they show him in the DR like right after, and then like his voice was completely not like it was not as heavy as an accent at all. It was like almost like no accent. And
Yeah,
it was quite interesting. I thought
he was turning it down for Red or up.
it was turned way up when he was talking to Red in the hot tub, and then he gets in the DR, and he's like, I think Red just broke up with me, and he's like it's not as twangy. Let's put it that way. It was very interesting, but, you know.
Yeah, but is it does it behoove Red? I guess to just like since Cameron's the pariah of the house, and Cameron doesn't even seem to know that. That Red needs to put as much distance between him and Cameron as possible if he hopes to stay.
Well, that's what saved Red tonight. Yeah, because he told Suri basically like, "Oh, okay, he's gonna be on a trash island by himself." And that was going to happen anyway, kind of, you know. But like, I think the reason, like Amanda said it, and as far as the show goes, they're not showing it, but Cameron, I guess, is creeping all the girls out in the house, and so it's like, you know, but I'm not seeing that on the show, and even if I were, I still love the fact that he's making everyone miserable because I often enjoy those players, but I don't like the sexual stuff, you know.
Yeah, you want people to be uncomfortable. You want someone there to be in opposition, and typically we've seen whenever there's why is it so dark all of a sudden with me you've seen that like there's a steamroll that typically happens. All of the pieces are in place for a steamroll, but it's not happening, which is great, right? People are not getting their way. People are getting frustrated, right? This is what we want to see. We want to see a season of ups and downs. Sorry, people that we root for, you're not going to get everything that you want. You know, people think that they have it in the bag and this is going to be their week. So, sorry, no, it isn't. You know, people pull through.
When Cameron won this veto tonight, you just saw how there was no applause. No one was happy.
It was great.
No one.
No,
not even Red.
In fact, they were all kind of like bummed.
Yeah, everyone. He was so okay. How much is he creeping them out? Just like staring, or the looks, or what's
things
causing
being said? Amanda said it's like it's everything. It's A, B, and C.
It started from the beginning, like, and he's been like coming on to America as well.
Yeah, he did it with Riley.
Yeah,
this is all Cameron.
Yeah, and then but then he'll also say like, you know. You gotta get rid of these girls and stuff like that, and you know, like, so like there's all the sorts of like Amanda said, like this season's been very like misogynistic, you know, with between like even Jared, like, yeah, she was like almost every guy, Jared, Matt, even, you know, like they're all just like bros and saying like, you know, just broing out, you know, and it's kind of like it's kind of interesting. It's it's kind of like a frat house, but with like two mother hens that are kind of overseeing everything. It's kind of weird.
Because Felicia and Suri?
Yeah, they're kind of controlling the house, but then it's like all the dudes are kind of getting their way, and then the girls are kind of all in the bottom. Like even that scene tonight, guys, when like Jared was like, "Hey, Blue, like step out for a minute," and then she's okay, and then like when America came out, like I was like, "What is this?" Like, you know, like,
it was almost like the Sons of Anarchy. Like, hey, get the old lady out of here. You know?
Yeah, it was exactly what it made me think of. Was like, yeah, it was like, I got some business to deal with. Can you leave the room? You know, like,
yeah. From the Jared, I haven't had a conversation with it's. America's confrontation there with after the veto. Like, there's a lot to break down. But here's that moment when America goes to talk to Jared when she gets kind of wind that she could be the replacement nominee, and she goes to talk to Jared, but Blue is just there, you know, and he's like, "Please excuse yourself." You know?
It was the best. It was, and she just does it. She doesn't fight it. She's just like, "Yeah, okay," and then brings the blanket too. I loved it.
Sam saying in the live chat that Jared needs a spanking from Suri.
But like Suri is like such a, you know, my son has no faults type mother, you know. So
I don't even know if she doesn't think he has faults, but I don't think she cares.
Still loves him regardless. That's the thing.
That's not. She's not hung up on his faults. That's I would say. is more of the case.
I can't believe how. Jeff, be careful what you say.
What you said about America?
Why? I like America.
Yeah, well, she's my pick, right? So I guess I gotta be on board with Sam there. But I just find it really surprising how seamlessly Cerise kind of fit in the game, and how everyone's accepted her and been like, yeah, you're not really that, like, you're on our side. Like, you're not a threat at all. Like, there's like such little, it's like taboo to speak that, in the house, right? Which is like, I just find it really interesting that she's got this kind of aura over people, if you will, right?
Cerie does?
Yeah, Cerie.
Yeah,
well, she's already famous.
Yeah, she's got that. She knows how to play these games. And yeah, people kind of, and she has like the older mother type like role that she's filling.
But she's not even the oldest in the house.
But
usually you see the older contestants, they usually get voted out earlier, don't they?
Normally, but this is like, I would say, a much older cast than normal. There's a bunch of different factors that is going on, but like I feel like Cerie is, just very good at setting herself up well in, like, that's kind of her thing. It always was. Like she's really good at making sure that she's controlling the votes. And that's what she's doing again this season. The problem is when she gets to the end game, will she learn from her mistakes and not bring the wrong people? Because that's what she always does. She
brings Jared, and then Jared's like, I need to be my own man. I need to show how I'm the greatest player of all time.
His voice will crack when he does his speech. I'm going to be my own man.
Yeah, I gotta show. I gotta be I'm trying to be the greatest, right, Jared?
It's just uncomfortable hearing that conversations took place without you being a part of it. I'm not gonna play this game being told what to do at all, whether it's by my mom or whether it's by a close ally. And don't get me wrong, my mom is definitely a legend, but at the end of the day, I'm here to make my own path. I'm here to make my own decisions, and I'm trying to be one of the greatest also.
Is he channeling like
It's just uncomfortable.
The mid '90s? Like, is that his look? Like he's got the sunglasses
in the mid-90s.
Yeah, he's got like a Wesley Snipes.
Snipes, yes, exactly.
Wesley Snipes. It's more of a Wesley Snipes, yeah, type of vibe.
He definitely watched like New Jack City before it came on. He's like, yeah,
like Wesley Snipes and U.S. Marshals. Like
a little bit.
U.S. Marshals, New Jack City,
or New Jack City, or a little bit Demolition Man. Like he's got a few.
To Wong Fu.
He's got a few different vibes when he was in the baseball movie with De Niro, The Fan.
The Fan, yeah.
He's got like that
Demolition Man
era of Wesley Snipes is all I'm thinking when I see him in like the all the different outfits that he's wearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. What you should have put after that clip is Cerie telling him you're putting up Jag. He's like, okay, mom.
Yeah, okay, mom. And it just cuts to DR. Well, my mom's got a good point, like it's just like
she's making a lot of good points, but I hate that America, I don't know why I made him
so. What mom wants, because even the scene where she goes, well, so what do you want to do? Like he doesn't even like. It's not even a discussion. It's basically like, Mom, what do you want to do? And we're doing that. Like he is like he's given his whole game to Cerie, and it's like. But he's not telling the show that, or like being honest with us about that, really, which is kind of silly.
He's a big nothing burger of a player.
Yeah, he's like, I think just immature even for 25. I think there's a lot to growing up to do, Jared. I don't know. I think he'll be maybe all right long term. We'll see. But he's got a lot to go here. And if he's, as like the thing was with live feeds is that you always hear like this person said this, and then it gets pretty damning after a while. I'm like, geez, maybe these are the worst people. I remember like, well, there was Mickey. You remember Mickey? He seemed like a pretty douchey guy, but I guess people. That's part of the experiment, if I think of it all. If Big Brother was near in there. Okay, so the recap of the episode, guys. We talked about Corey and Jared. I think we kind of touched on their conversation. The fact we learned about them, number one, and then this argument over America that devolves after several conversations about her throwing competitions or not throwing competitions,
which is ridiculous. After that pressure cooker. Like, why would you even question that?
Yeah. But then they had the pick for the veto tonight. Guys, I got a problem with the music that they every time they play when it's time to pick players to the veto. I hate this music. They need to retire this music forever. With me.
I didn't realize Felicia was that short. That's what
she is. That's the crazy thing.
I on the show it does not appear like other than like a picture like that. But I thought she was much taller.
Yeah. When you see her by herself, you think she's a hefty lady.
Yeah.
But then you see that and you're like, no, she's pretty small. She's just like kind of pearish and like just broad shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was picked in the veto. Of course, we had Jared and Red and Cameron were already going to be in this. America gets picked to be in it, and as does Felicia. But Matt is chosen by Cameron. And I thought that I don't think Matt was gonna. If Matt had won this, was he gonna pull Cameron down? No, there's no way, right? So. I thought it was just a lot. It was, I don't know, like this Cameron player, he is a villain, but he's like this lame duck. He's not going to go that, I don't know. Eventually he might be not even worth getting rid of. He could survive long enough just for that. But the fact that he's been on the block so many times, he still kind of has a story. And if he got to the end, he could maybe win. I doubt it, but it seems like you have to vote him out at some point, even if you just don't want to live with him.
If he did more than saving himself, then maybe that would count for that would be better. You know what I mean? But he hasn't really done much for because he won the HOH, right? But it didn't work out. So that does you gotta move on.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. Okay, let's move, and then guys, let's move to the actual competition itself, which we've seen this before, where you're stacking the little beads or cans. This time it had the theme of the comic verse, where there was different parts. They had come through a wormhole, as we've shown earlier. They zapped away. I don't know if you liked all that, guys, but Foster, how did this competition feel for you? Were you enjoying it?
Yeah, I thought it was a good one. I think it really fit with the theme, first of all, right? Kind of like being big in a small area for multiverse and all that, right? But I thought that the challenge itself was what it was. It was a challenge, right? It didn't seem like it was easy. It seemed like something that would definitely frustrate me very easily. But I'm interested. Do you guys know how long this challenge took?
Jaemeel, do you have any idea? Have you heard?
No.
The thing with this challenge, I thought, most of the players decided to do, most people are right-handed, except for Felicia. She seems like she's naturally left-handed. But only Matt was the only player to try to do it with both hands, from what I could tell throughout the competition, switching arms, because it seemed like as you got more tired, your arm would start shaking more and more, and you get more unsteady, and it would become harder and harder. But if you could kind of depending on how ambidextrous you are, I think you could potentially try to switch between both hands.
That is, unless you're Cameron and you really work one arm a lot.
Bowie Jane likes the joke too. Yeah, these things are kind of fun, I guess.
Did you notice Cameron whipped off his shirt? At the beginning of the yeah, he had the sweater on or whatever that he likes to half zip up, and he whipped it off to do the competition.
So he's wearing no shirt.
Yeah, but at the beginning, when they first zap in or whatever, he has the sweater on and he takes it off.
Let me see the wormhole here for a second.
All I could hear was the theme song of Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
Is that what you have of it?
Yeah, that was the same graphics.
Yeah. Okay. The only thing, guys, I hate really about all this is the tiny little veto that they even carry into the actual veto ceremony. I think it's cute and everything for the competition, but I think it should be traded in for a regular sized veto once you get out of the comic verse.
I think they should have had a tiny veto box. It would have been funny to watch them
The
walk
green
off
box
with
that they use.
this tiny little veto box.
Jane asked me tonight, do you want that green box from the veto meeting? And I was like, I don't know. But it's not a tiny box.
I want them to do a big veto competition where everything is supersized and it's harder to line everything up because it's so huge, and then they get a huge veto,
giant verse. So it's a massive power veto that it could crush you, and maybe will, and maybe other people if it gets rolling.
Sure.
Now, right? Foster, would you be into that kind of a twist into the competitions?
Yeah, especially if they were hanging because it'd be like the whole circle, but then the line through, so your head's like going through the gap part. So there's no chain, right? Like there's no reason to use the chain because it's just
a hat that they put on,
or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
And then post veto, guys. There was this whole debate. We saw here that Felicia was kind of really throwing up America's even to America. This is a different meeting, but there's one point where America walks into the room and everyone gets quiet, and then Felicia's like, "Well, maybe it has to be you who has to go up there."
She was so fun.
That was funny. She's like, "You would just be a pawn, but maybe it has to be you." Who can control? It's got. She was saying it's got to be America or Bowie Jane. That was what Felicia was pitching. Ultimately, Jared wanted America, but also earlier in the episode, Corey tells Jared that America would put up someone like Sari or Felicia or Izzy, who of course are working with Jared. But I guess most people, namely Corey, doesn't understand that. Of course, the mother-son connection notwithstanding, doesn't understand that Jared is working with Sari and Felicia and Izzy, right?
Yeah,
we're saying that Corey is number 5 to Jared.
Number 4, I think.
Who's his number 1? Is it Blue?
No, his mom, I think.
Okay, his mom, then Blue, then Felicia.
Blue, and then Felicia, yeah.
And then Izzy.
I don't.
Izzy gets
Izzy. Well, no, it's not Felicia. It's Izzy, isn't it?
It should be Izzy, but Jared's weird. Okay.
Or maybe it's Corey.
It's because he treats his allies so poorly that you question it, because he should not be, I'm sorry.
You Ferengi.
Okay. He treats them so poorly. Even if you don't necessarily agree with Corey's opinion, if he is one of your allies, you would steer him away from that thought process that he has, especially if he's going after one of your allies, instead of just irrationally arguing and fighting with them. He with friends like these, you don't need enemies with Jared.
True. Yeah, Jared, I don't think is not. I think he's having some mental sort of fatigue, perhaps, in the house and getting sort of. Well, I think there was a great moment here tonight where Corey kind of summed it up. Let's play.
Jared is strong in his convictions to the point of stupidity. He gets an idea in his head, and any evidence that pushes back against that idea might as well be thrown away.
Yeah. And then mommy tells him, puts her foot down.
She's like, no, we're putting it up Jag. Okay, so I think maybe that's the thing I want to unpack next here is Sari's decision ultimately, not so much I think here to say, I would rather for her to want to keep Red around, because that makes sense a little bit. I understand. But she ultimately had Matt saved. She convinced Matt to use that power to save him, right? To save Jag after a 10-0 vote. But after this 10-0 vote, Sari points out, he's got to be bitter. He's got to be sort of not trusting anybody. He's a liability, a loose end. Why would I keep him around? Is she correct?
Well, Aren't you pissing off Matt though by doing this?
Potentially, and even Jared says that to his mom in their meeting. But
So what if Matt wins? Like this happens, and then Matt wins HOH.
Well, Matt could only have used it this week or next week. Ultimately, he wasn't even in danger this week, so he, using it last week was.
And
more...
Jag would have been gone anyway. I guess you could always say,
Right, but that also helped. Saving Jag. I don't know what that would have.
You just have to imagine that if you're going to use this and as just a political tool, but not actually care about the person you're saving, you'd want to make sure that you have your move. It is advertised enough or shared around that people will say, hey, Matt's a pretty solid dude for saving Jag. And then, unfortunately, Jag gets voted out. The lesson from that situation would be, oh, we couldn't save Jag. That sucks. But Matt, man, he really went out on a limb there for, an alliance member. Right? So if they play it that way, that's fine. I don't think they're going to play it that way. I don't think that messaging is going to come across because from the people who do know, it seems more or less that a lot of people are attributing it more to Suri than to Matt himself, right? That know it about it. So, yeah, it's a pretty useless move overall.
Foster, any take there on the Matt using the power? I guess in all of this whole situation, the power of invincibility. What is its legacy?
Yeah, I guess what's going to happen is that it seems like to me that Jag is going to go home, and this is not going to have gone over well either for Matt, because it didn't really help him anyway, and it's not going to look great for the writers and stuff because it didn't really pan out very well, right? It wasn't really it was used immediately, right?
Well, the writers are all on strike, right? So I guess
that's fair.
Must have been the producers who came up with this one. But yeah, ultimately he wasn't voted out last week because I guess they didn't even want Cameron to have the satisfaction. I think maybe also why Suri chose to keep Jag around in case Jag could have won and then help take out Cameron. Ultimately, Jag doesn't win the HOH. Instead, Jared does. And so, that's even better for Suri. So Jag was expendable. Jag could go here. So now that Cameron, especially I think now that Cameron's stock in the house has fallen as much as it has, I think ultimately she doesn't need as many strong allies as maybe she did a week ago, is sort of how I'm seeing it. But ultimately, could Jag have done anything better here? Because he goes to this meeting here with the 7 deadly sins or whatever they're called, which is like Blue and Matt and Jag. Who else is in this? Izzy, Felicia, Jared, and Suri. That's this group. And they ultimately well, what if you have to be the one, Jag, to sit next to Red? Someone's got to do it. Why not you? We can control it. We have the votes. And he ultimately volunteers for it in this meeting. I don't know.
Is this the new superpower? Is this the new ultimate alliance right now that's going on in the house?
Jaemeel?
We all know where the true power lies, right? And that's with Suri, Izzy, Jared, and company, right?
Well, they're all here.
Yeah. Everyone else is just accessories.
I have to say it is kind of weird that we have a season where the people that are in power are the people that kind of suck at competitions. If Felicia, Suri, Izzy, these are not the people you would be usually aligning with to go for a deep run on winning competitions, but they're good. They're just getting fortunate, Jared won something that was fortunate. Felicia won the croquet ball thing. It's just been working out for them, and that won't last. There will be a moment where someone wins and goes, oh, but I should probably take a shot at that alliance, So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, if they're able to pick enough of those strong competitors off, they could just run the table, right? Get rid of Jag, get rid of Cameron, I think from their perspective, because these are people that, can beat them, and they may not be able to control. Ultimately was it the? I think Cerie's logic to go after Jag versus America makes a lot of sense. Doesn't make so much sense for Jared because he already ran his mouth too much. I think and he almost talked his way into having to nominate America and make sure he gets her out. But that doesn't happen. He doesn't even put her up. So she's coming after. She could be the one to take the shot now, right? Like this could be sort of. It'd be interesting to see how this plays out from here in the coming weeks, because I think that their undoing could be that Jared made an enemy of America this week, and maybe even Corey, and they could have power in the near future and choose to take a shot at that alliance. But I don't know. I guess it will ultimately come down to whether how much Corey wants to work with Jared. I feel like that a lot of that went away tonight. And then we had the veto meeting in the episode where ultimately we end up here with Jag and Red on the block, guys. Two bearded men. One of them has to go.
Do you have a beard preference?
I would say I prefer Jag's beard.
It's Battle of the Beards.
I like Red's beard more. I'll take Red's side on this one, not just because he's my pick, but because you can do great things with that beard.
I think both beards are kind of outrageous, but
truly outrageous.
But one of them is for religious purposes, so it's more forgivable. The other one is just, does he have like some like birds living in there? Like it just seems like a little bit much. It's almost down to his belly button.
Yeah, well, he had to braid it for that one competition. Like, if that gets wet, that must take a while for it to dry out.
Oh my god!
Because when my beard was getting a lot longer down here, I felt like if I would go to the shower, it would take a while for like this pool of water to sometimes dry out beneath my chin. I was like, oh man. So for Red, it's got to be insane,
And he ain't using any beard oil or cleaning that, he doesn't comb that beard. I don't think it's just wild.
Beard oil? Is there beard oil?
Yeah, there's beard.
Yeah.
Oil.
Oh yeah, there's beard oil. There's beard wax. There's beard. What's the other one called?
Pomade.
Oh, I don't know. There's another one. It's like
I'm a Dapper Dan man.
But
I've never tried any of this. I just thought beards had to be sharp and sort of split ends.
Here's the thing, Dave. It's I'm kind of like toe in the pool kind of thing, right? And they're like Red's like, he's driving the deep end right now. Like he's just, he's from 0 to 100. I can't get there.
Well, hey, fair enough. I got to look into these products, guys. So, Jaemeel, is there a spoiler section? Are you able to tell us where the votes lie? And if so, we can give a spoiler warning here.
I think that people prepare for a split. It's not going to be unanimous, right? As of right now. Is that spoilers?
Yeah, that's not a spoiler. I wouldn't say that.
Not a spoiler. We're saying not a spoiler. You're saying this could go either way tomorrow in this vote?
With this crew, it's so wishy-washy all the time, right? They're like trying to protect Bowie's feelings and like, oh, Bowie, don't worry, it's just going to be a split vote, and people are still making plans. Like Red's still making plans, Jag's still making plans.
Bowie's feelings. Bowie's feelings about what?
About voting for Red.
Is Bowie and Red friends? Are they?
Yeah,
okay, here's the one thing. Jane said it because Jane's draft picks in this season, guys, are Nicole and Bowie Jane. All right, and these two are barely on this show. Okay, they're it's hard to even root for them. She said because I don't know anything about them. Jaemeel, can you at least tell us something about them that we haven't seen on the show?
Bowie Jane is thought to be together with Red and Cameron. That's why Cerie has never really trusted her. That's an interesting fact about Bowie Jane. Wow. McCall does.
She's suspected to be in an alliance with them, not even necessarily.
McCall is great for feeds. Like she talks in like if you see clips online where she just like she does not like, I believe, a good portion of the people in the house, and she kind of lets it out in the not even the dining room, but in the meal room, the storage room, and she'll talk, she'll kind of vent, and then she'll take a deep breath, and then she'll go back into the house. So people live for those sequences. What I think what we're really going to be talking about in the next couple of weeks is if this Jared use of the R word is going to get traction.
Yeah, we're getting requests here.
Yeah, see.
I had to remind myself what the R word was. I had to look it up. But yeah.
So there's already been I don't know if it's official, but I think the Special Olympics has already condemned this already. So
Right.
people are kind of waiting to see.
There will be a fallout here.
Well, yeah. Like, okay, I just double checked. Special Olympics did make a post, because we can't say tweet anymore because people are dumb. And I quote: Special Olympics stands behind Jag and his family in their condemnation of the use of the R word by a contestant on CBS's Big Brother. Words matter, and when we choose to include, everyone wins. So we're waiting to hear hear what they're saying. People are calling for Jared's expulsion from the game.
Because of the R word?
Yeah.
How was it used? Like, no, because like I'm just curious because no, it's not acceptable in any
You're
way.
not helping yourself with that. How was it used?
Well, no, it's
He
not
was
acceptable
writing a
in any way,
medical.
of course,
He
but
was
I'm
writing a
just
medical paper, and or he was quoting the Canadian Charter of Rights, which I think still has it. It did I think a decade ago. I haven't checked it, as of late. But
Jaemeel, what's your position?
Opinion on this?
Yes.
Okay. One, I talked about this before. When it happened, when they expunged Kyle, I'm like, people are going to have to keep their nose clean, because if someone says anything, right, there's going to be calls for people to be expelled, right? And how long? It's like three weeks later, right? We're already here. And it's not even, right? Not to say that, let's just say that, let's not get canceled, Jaemeel. I think that in our society, one word is considered a lot more intense, right, than the other. Okay, let's just say it like that, right? So I think that, are we going to put certain levels to different slurs, or are we considering the R word a slur or not? Is it a slur?
I think it's okay. Like, it's a complicated issue, because I think that the word didn't always have a derogatory meaning whatsoever. But it came to have that, especially when we were growing up. Like Jaemeel and I, like the millennials, the older millennials, and the Gen Xers. It was used so derogatorily. So
Yeah, but if you said like something so gay, right, or something like that, that would pass. Do you know what I mean? Unless it was mean, and then it wouldn't. And you know what
Intent
I mean?
matters, and I think to equate R word to N word, I think, is a false equivalent. I get that they're both not nice, but or the F word for that matter. But I think that expulsions, I think
we saw the America use the F word tonight on the show a bunch of times.
F word.
Yeah.
I know.
No, not that F word.
Not that F word.
The other F word.
Oh,
the other F word.
Yeah. We'll give you a second to catch up. But what happens? Like, it becomes a very dangerous
slippery slope. Is that the wrong term?
Be careful with certain terms. Like, you can use. Like, there's going to be tons of words that us as society still need to move away from in terms of its usage, because it is hurtful to the communities. Like the G word, right? When talking about nomadic Europeans from the Romani, right? Right? There are a lot of words.
The Yipsy
Right.
women.
Well, okay. I always come back to an episode of Star Trek, which is not even the best episode of Star Trek, but this original series where the Abraham Lincoln guy shows up on the bridge of the Enterprise, and he goes up to her. He calls her like some kind of a word that's out of very old fashioned or something. I think
Negro,
something like that, and a negress, maybe I don't know, and he goes, "Oh, whoa, maybe I shouldn't have said that." And she goes, we've learned like not to be afraid of words, in our time. So I don't really care.
How wrong Gene Roddenberry was.
Yeah. Well, I think, that was in the 23rd century. We're still in the 21st, but
I think the lesson from that though is the word isn't necessarily the issue; it's the intent. Right,
right. But
right?
I cannot use one of those like a word like that and still convey hate or viciousness or whatever, right?
If he said special, like differently abled, and spit on the ground, like turned his head to the side.
Well, at least it was politically correct, but he was a complete cunt. Sorry, I've used the words, but so I'll be expelled from the game now.
You might have to edit.
You're done.
Yeah.
Julie Chen says, "Go to the diary room immediately."
Yeah. We need to go to the Kyland.
I do.
Island.
What about Kobe? Okay, I just think that there needs to be a line that's drawn in the sand, and the line is this. I'm sorry, folks. As the R word is extremely hurtful, but to state on television that it has the impact that the N word has, right, in society as of late, right? We're not on. It's not on the same level.
I can't put those two things on the scale and say that's
on the same thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there needs to be recourse, especially because they have sponsors involved and such. And overall, there's communities that are impacted, right? So typically what CBS typically does is they have, on tomorrow's episode, everyone sits down and talks about it. And, they play the music, right? And then they donate money to the charity and, they move on for it. That's CBS's typical approach to this type of situation.
Live and learn, right?
Right?
But not for Luke Valentine. He got the boot, right? And rightly so, I think. But
I think what they should do is next week Jared gets an automatic nomination.
Or he could lose the ability to play in the. He already
automatic nomination. It doesn't hurt that I don't like this man, but
right. But try to be objective. Would you, if it was somebody else, and would you would the punishment fit the crime? I guess is kind of the question. What is the proper recourse, if any? I don't.
Do you think they should do nothing?
Should they? I think he should definitely get talked to. If only for his own sake.
Give him an Aaron special. Pull him aside and talk to the entire house about it, and then if they do it again, then it's like, well, too bad, too sad. Julie's gonna screw you right after.
Did America care that he used that word?
That's a very good point. Sam, do you have any?
Because if she did, then maybe it's a different issue. But if it's just outrage from fans and stuff, who cares?
Well, Jake's family was the one who reached out.
Yeah, well, Sam, I appreciate that this is a personal subject for you. You've been called that word before it was a form of hate speech. I don't know if it was before. I think it's been a form of. I think there's a lot of ways to be cruel and vicious and hateful towards people, whether you use certain monikers or not. But it's.
And I understand that I'm also probably not coming in with the education and the historical knowledge of the burden and how that community has been held down using such terms and slurs throughout society and the world. So, Sam, I do acknowledge that from different perspectives that that is absolutely a really hurtful thing, and the punishment should be severe in that respect. I can understand that thought process, right? But from the perspective that I have, I don't think that would be the approach that CBS is going to take. I don't necessarily think that that is the course that CBS should take in this regard. Right? I think that if they should draw a line in the sand and say, "Hey, are we going to say that this is also a no-no? And if this ever happens again, we've seen what happened with Kyle, same kind of deal." I think that would be the best recourse.
I guess, is this the line in the sand we want to draw? You know, is Jared the one to make the statement on here? It doesn't hurt. You're right that he's not the most likable person anyway. But you know, Jeff, if you had to make the call, if you're CBS, what do you do with Jared from this situation and the outrage from the community, like Special Olympics and all this kind of stuff? That's
I have to see like
The
moment.
context of
I have to see the context and the moment on the show. If it's just like he's just trying to say something mean to hurt her feelings or something like that, like I think it's different than than if it's someone who actually is mentally challenged or something. Like it's different.
Well, but in the case of Luke, he was calling Corey the N-word, and
I know, but the N-word is a whole other kettle of fish, than the R-word to me. Like it's just, I don't agree with using the word or say it, but I just don't think it's the same thing.
Let's if we're being honest with ourselves, right? If a presidential candidate said the N-word during a speech, would he be elected? I think it would be pretty hard.
You think
right?
if Trump was doing that he would really lose support?
Seeing specifically Trump insult an individual with differently abled publicly, and that was brushed under the thing as a non-issue so quickly, and that kind of tells you as a society right now that they consider those issues on two different levels.
Well, we forgave Trudeau for the blackface too, right? So it seems like there's like
did we?
blackface. Did we forgive him or did we forget about it? I don't know, but
he did it multiple times.
He did it multiple times. I think that people, when it comes to Sir Trudeau, I think that people just moved on to more pressing issues that they don't like about him rather than that particular thing.
Just the way he talks, mostly.
Well, if no scandal brings down any politician anymore. It doesn't work. Politicians used to have dignity where they would resign and they would, but that doesn't happen anymore.
No,
but
the scandals will bring down reality TV stars,
that's right.
Especially on Big Brother.
Yeah.
Sorry, Foster.
Foster's been quiet for so long. I don't know if if you have a take on any of this.
I don't have much. This is not a subject I want to talk.
It's like the Barry Gibb talk show, Dave. Do you have anything to say, Robin? No.
Like I was just curious how it was used, because I don't. To me, it's at the end of the day, it's everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's allowed to have an opinion, right? And I guess for me, it's like I'd rather just not have my opinion be shared. If I didn't really have an opinion, to be honest, because at the end of the day, like in the grand scheme of things, for me, it doesn't matter, right? It's such a blip on the stress scale. I've got so many other things I'm worried about right now.
Well, also, okay, what's worse, Jared saying the R word or Cameron being a creeper in the house? What's worse?
Yeah, and once again, it's not taking away from any situation, right? It's more of just saying like, hey, like, like we're just the outside viewers involved, right? And at the end of the day, we're not the ones either making decisions, we're not the ones being directly affected, and we're not the ones in the house.
Well, I agree with that.
I think that we at the end of the day, I understand if people have very strong feelings about this issue, especially if if it
Right.
impacts them, right, and impacts those that they care about. I know people might disagree with me in terms of like this is more important than others. All of it is important. It's just different perspectives on the issue. Um, I would think that if anyone wants to have a dialogue about this outside, I know how rational people are on the internet. You can, right? Follow. You can message me at Funko Toronto. A very serious X handle. You can message me there, and I will do my best to drown in the sea of comments, possibly. But supposedly, Sam, you're too nice. I just say that we should just wrap it up by just reading what Jag's family had to say regarding the issue.
Okay.
And
But why specifically Jag's family?
You'll see.
All right.
Jag, I'm guessing his family member that.
So this is from Jag's family, friends, family, and communities. Jag is a huge advocate and ally for people with intellectual and development disabilities. He has dedicated nearly 13 years with the Special Olympics and has been actively supporting Spread the Word to End the Word campaigns for just as long. This cause is near and dear to our hearts. Jag's family, friends, and community are compelled to address an incident that occurred on season 25 of Big Brother. As many are already aware, a house guest, Jared Fields, used a derogatory term, the R word, when referring to a fellow house guest. Such language is entirely unacceptable, particularly on a prominent platform like Big Brother. CBS Big Brother maintains a zero-tolerance policy against hate speech and has previously removed house guests for violating their code of conduct. Although CBS has been silent about this incident, we wanted to address this issue and spread awareness. Using the R word diminishes the dignity and humanity of individuals with IDD, which is intellectual and development disabilities, and perpetuates harmful stereotypes. To further demonstrate our support, we're offering Team Jag shirts, from which $5 of every purchase will be donated to our local Special Olympics organization. You'll find these purchases link in Jag's Instagram bio story, Facebook, and X/Twitter posts. So
there you go. Okay, well, good for them, and I agree. Jag might be the one get evicted this week. So
That's what you get, Jag.
Yeah.
But hey, that babyface rub, if he does get evicted this week, like when he hits the talk show,
he'll have a lot to talk about. Yeah.
He'll have a lot to talk about. And
the guy who got me out is the Sri Fields. Oh yeah, wait till Julie just their mother and son, secret relationship. Because we're not going to jury yet, right?
It's like, what he's gonna probably say is like, well, I thought Sri was better than that to raise such a son, and then everyone would go like, oh snap.
Yeah.
So,
guys,
I'm not sure who's less likable in the house, Cameron or Jared. It's hard.
I think Cameron is inside the house. Jared is outside the house. Only because a lot of what Jared is doing, Cameron is doing, is not being shown on the regular television, and Jared's is for all to see.
I have to say, like, some of the stuff that Cameron's doing on the show, like when he's like doing the competitions, or I'm like, he's actually quite entertaining and he's kind of funny sometimes. And I'm like, I'm actually not like, I'm kind of like, oh, I could see why they casted him. And then Amanda tells me all the behind the scenes stuff, and I go, well, I already kind of didn't like him because I hate the way he sits in the DR room where he's always like this. And it bothers me. It's like his whole body language is like, I'm too casual to care, but at the same time, I don't know. It's just, I don't like it. He rubs me the wrong way, as Jared would say.
You're with Cameron.
Yeah, like just his body language and just kind of the way he is in the house. But as far as but I also find him kind of entertaining.
Me too. He's kind of like, I agree with you. He's kind of like, I don't think I'd really want to know him in real life, but on the show, he's fine. He's an interesting dynamic, I think, to this house. The fact that he won this veto, I think, is kind of an interesting story to the season. Him being a creeper, I feel for the house guests, but that's kind of like the whole thing with the game. You're living with a bunch of strangers. Some of them are weird.
You can
you
can self-evict.
Suck it up. They're not all going to be supermodels. That's all it is to it. Okay, guys, tomorrow night is the eviction between Jag and Red. I got 2 Lower Decks episodes to cover with Davan and Derek Tyler Attico tomorrow. So I know Foster can't make it. He's going to one of his many fishing trips and his outdoorsman stuff. So he's unavailable. So if either of you guys or both of you guys can help drive the eviction, I think I should be able to make both, but we'll see. So watch out for that tomorrow night here on the channel. Plus, guys, we got a Survivor season coming.
These 18 strangers have agreed to be abandoned in the islands of Fiji.
I've been waiting a long time to step on this beach.
They must learn to adapt or they'll be voted out.
The game is more volatile than ever.
In the end, only one will remain to claim the $1 million prize.
I'm back, baby.
Let's go!
Survivor, new season Wednesday, September 27th on Global.
Yeah. Guys, are you excited about the new season, Survivor 45?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. To be quite honest, I don't know really, I don't really look ahead to see details and whatnot about how the seasons was how it went. But I'm looking forward to it as usual. I think it'll be a good one.
Sam.
Of course you do. He already has a girl. He's already got his favorite girl. I haven't really had a chance to really look into the cast yet, but we're going to be doing our draft and cast preview before September 27th. At least it's nice that we have 20-something days, 3 weeks to get ready for this. So, we can really get ready. I'm hoping to invite Jason Phillips, who is on Trivial Debates, over here to do a couple Survivor podcasts with us. I know he's a fan. He's apparently not a Big Brother fan, but he is a Survivor fan. So look out for that. And we got our Marvel wing here on the channel. We call it the Mary Mater Marvel Society, where we talk about the new Marvel stuff that comes out. Whether it's good or bad, or if the whole franchise is dying, it's up for debate. And so watch out for that stuff. And then yes, you got. Okay, you got that. All right. And further from that, we have the, of course, the United Federation of Podcasts. Like we mentioned, Trivial Debates is one of those shows that's part of the network. We got, we have Eamon Mater's Eamon on Track doing music reviews and albums. We got the horror wing with Alex Blackburn and Michael Chan called the Hellbound Podcast, where they do that. The X-Rated, that's kind of our cartoons and comic book themed channel, specifically X-Men the animated series, where Davan and André do all kinds of reviews and episode analysis and interview people from that production, from the creators and voice casts. André Myette, of course, doing the great interviews on the Graphic Histories podcast, interviewing people from all forms of entertainment, comic books, and movies and whatnot. Hold Up, which is on tonight.
Right now, still going on.
Still with Davan and Murphy. What are they talking about, you think?
Are they yelling at each other yet?
Right now, they're on the everything, everywhere, all at once section, but they were doing the multiverse. So I think
it's movies about multiverses.
Yes.
Okay, so there can't be that many of them, right?
The second one, Coherence, everything, everywhere, all at once, and then I think it was called Time After Time. Quest for Love.
I might have to go over there and crash them just to tell.
Oh, I'm crashing.
We're crashing. Okay, let's get out of here. Also, check out Live Long and Podcast, our Star Trek channel. Where, as mentioned, we're doing Star Trek Lower Decks. Season 4 starts tomorrow. We're doing 2 episodes. Well, the first episode was like 2 Vicks and or something, but like a TWO. So I'm curious to see what that's all about, and even more. So check out all the great stuff, guys. Did I forget anything? I think that's all of it. All right. Well,
KBBL.
KBBL is on hiatus. Might be back, might not. Who knows? All right. Well, guys, on that note, we're gonna get out of here, and let's travel through the wormhole one more time. Thanks, Foster. Hope you have a good fishing trip, and see you guys next time. All right. Good night.